Have you ever stopped to think about the true meaning of Christmas? In such a fast-paced world, where everything seems to revolve around expensive gifts and endless lists, we sometimes forget what really matters. But what if I told you that in a small village, a simple tree was able to transform lives, unite hearts, and reignite lost magic? It sounds unlikely, doesn't it? After all, who would believe that something so ordinary could hide such an extraordinary secret? In this tale, we go far beyond twinkling lights or Christmas carols. It's a story about faith, about believing in the impossible, and above all, about how small gestures can turn into the greatest miracles. You'll see that not everything is as it seems, that Christmas still holds twists capable of moving even the most skeptical hearts. Here, the magic isn't in wands or spells, but in human connection, hope, and the power of love. Get ready for a journey that will challenge your view of Christmas. A journey that begins with an ordinary family, a mysterious tree, and ends with a message so powerful you won't be able to forget it. Ready to discover how the extraordinary can be hidden in the simplest things? Then come with me, because this story will touch your heart. It was a chilly December morning, and the Parker family decided it was the perfect day to find the pine tree that would decorate their living room. Armed with hats, gloves, and a rusty saw, they ventured into the forest near the little town of Cedarville. Each step in the snow made a soft crunch, almost like an invitation to explore deeper into that enchanted setting. But amidst all that endless white, something caught little Emily's eye, a solitary tree, different from all the others. The tree had something special. It was a tall pine, with branches that seemed to softly glow under the weak sunlight. It wasn't the shine of a regular reflection. It was as if the tree had a life of its own. Mr. Parker, curious as always, approached to investigate. When he touched the trunk, he felt a strange warmth, almost like a handshake coming straight from nature. "Is this just our imagination, or is this tree really alive?" he murmured, eliciting a nervous laugh from his wife. Emily, however, didn't find it funny. "Daddy, look at this," she shouted, pointing to a small mark on the trunk. It was an inscription, almost faded by time, but still readable. She read aloud, with a look of discovery. "Only those who believe in the spirit of Christmas can unveil my secret." The phrase hung in the air like a mysterious promise, and everyone exchanged glances, torn between disbelief and excitement, while their mother tried to discourage the idea of cutting down that tree. After all, something so unique deserved to stay where it was. Her father argued that it might be the perfect opportunity to bring something special home. But Emily, always the most sensitive, suggested something unexpected. "What if we stay here for a while? Maybe it will show us what it means to believe in Christmas." A gentle breeze blew, swaying the branches as if the tree approved. The family decided to set up a small camp around the tree. With makeshift tents and flickering lanterns, they settled in, waiting for something magical. As day turned into night, the tree's glow seemed to intensify, creating an aura that mesmerized everyone. The cold no longer felt as biting, and curiosity grew like an invisible fire within them. However, as the hours passed, nothing happened. Fatigue began to set in, and the parents insisted they should head home the next day. But Emily refused to leave. "Something is going to happen. I can feel it," she insisted, holding tightly to the tree's warm trunk. And then, just as everyone was about to give up, a shooting star streaked across the sky, briefly illuminating the surroundings. It was at that moment that something changed. The tree's trunk began to glow intensely, revealing a pattern of symbols that no one could understand. The sound of children's laughter echoed through the forest, but there was no one there besides the Parker family. What could that mystery be? Something inside that tree promised much more than a simple Christmas decoration. The next morning, with the soft sunlight streaming through the treetops, the Parker family woke to the sound of Emily enthusiastically calling everyone. "Come see this. It's for real." There she was, kneeling beside the glowing trunk, examining the marks that now seemed much clearer than the night before. There was something enigmatic about the way those symbols told a silent story, almost as if they were asking to be deciphered. Mr. Parker, who loved solving puzzles, grabbed a crumpled notebook and began jotting down the details. Meanwhile, Emily insisted that those symbols were like an invitation. What if it's something we need to say out loud? Like a kept secret, she asked, full of anticipation. Their mother rolled her eyes but couldn't hide a smile. The excitement of her daughter was contagious. After a few minutes of trying to decode the marks, something extraordinary happened. When Emily touched the trunk again and whispered softly, "Christmas spirit," the tree seemed to respond. A golden glow spread from its base, climbing up the branches like a wave of liquid light. Everyone held their breath, feeling that something big was about to be revealed. With a gentle snap, a small crack appeared in the trunk, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside, there was an aged parchment with golden letters that seemed to dance in the light. Mr. Parker carefully picked up the paper, while Emily held a flashlight, trembling with excitement. The message was simple but carried an inexplicable weight. Ask, believe, and the gift will be yours. But remember, miracles only happen for those who share. Their mother looked suspicious. "Is this some kind of joke?" she asked, though she was equally fascinated. But Emily, her eyes shining, exclaimed, "This explains everything. The tree is magical, and we have to make a wish. Something special, something only Christmas can bring." She already seemed to be daydreaming, imagining all the possibilities that this discovery offered. Despite the initial skepticism, curiosity won out. Everyone started debating what to wish for: money, luck, world peace. But Emily insisted it should be something small, something to test if the magic really worked. After all, how could they fully trust the impossible? With each idea, the tree seemed to vibrate slightly, as if it heard every word and was patiently waiting for the final decision. Then, Emily made the suggestion that changed everything. What if we wish to find the perfect gift? Something that means hope, something that shows the miracle of Christmas is real. The tree glowed even brighter, and a soft warmth enveloped everyone, like an invisible hug. Little did they know that this was just the beginning of a journey full of revelations. Back at home, the Parker family couldn't stop talking about their discovery. The magical tree seemed to carry an impossible, yet irresistible promise. Emily, always the most curious, was the first to try. "I want to find my lost teddy bear," she said, her hands clasped together like in prayer. It was a simple wish, but full of nostalgia. Everyone laughed at the simplicity until a muffled sound came from the basement. And there it was, the brown teddy bear with a red bow, covered in a bit of dust but intact. Astonishment took over the family. "Is this a coincidence or magic?" their mother asked, still processing what had just happened. Mr. Parker, trying to stay grounded, suggested another test. "Let's wish for something symbolic, something we can't explain so easily." So he wished to smell his mother's fragrance again, who had passed away years ago. The response was immediate. The air filled with a sweet, floral scent so vivid it brought tears to everyone's eyes. With each wish granted, skepticism gave way to a mix of awe and reverence. Their mother, reluctant to participate, gave in to curiosity. She wished for the music her father played on the violin to sound in the house again. Before she could finish the sentence, the notes of an old melody echoed through the hallways, as if the spirit of Christmas was present there in the heart of the family. The sound brought back memories, laughter, and even a bit of sadness, but above all, it filled the room with magic. "It's like the tree knows what we need," Emily said, her eyes sparkling. And indeed, the granted wishes weren't extravagant, but deeply meaningful. Each request seemed to touch the heart of the one making it, revealing that the true Christmas gift wasn't something material, but something that connected the soul with lost memories and feelings. Excitement grew, and the wishes began to become bolder. For example, Emily wished to see a shooting star in broad daylight. The sky, in its vast blue, surprised them with a bright streak that disappeared as quickly as it appeared. "This is surreal. exclaimed Mr. Parker, finally surrendering to the idea that they were witnessing something beyond comprehension. But amidst all this euphoria, something started to change. The tree, which had been responding perfectly until then, seemed to hesitate at times. Its glow dimmed slightly, as if it was saving energy for something greater. The family, immersed in their joy, didn't notice the subtlety. Only Emily seemed restless, as if she sensed that the miracle was coming with a greater purpose. Then the front door gently knocked. Everyone looked toward the entrance, surprised. Who could be there? When they opened the door, they found a man dressed simply, holding a lantern that glowed in the same golden hue as the tree. He smiled and said, "May I come in? I think I have something to share with you." That man seemed straight out of a Christmas story. His simple appearance, combined with the peculiar glow of the lantern he carried, left the family intrigued. He introduced himself as Benjamin and, with a welcoming smile, asked to warm up by the fireplace. Despite the initial distrust, something about his presence conveyed serenity, as if he were an old friend returning after years away. "Don't worry, I came for the tree," he said, leaving everyone speechless. Benjamin seemed to know more than he was saying. Sitting in Mr. Parker's favorite armchair, he began telling stories about miracles and gifts that changed lives. With every word, the glow of the tree in the forest seemed to intensify, even from a distance. "This tree has a greater purpose," he stated, while Emily listened attentively. It was as if his words were filling gaps the family didn't even know existed. Before they could ask more questions, another visitor knocked on the door. It was a woman named Grace, with eyes so clear they seemed to reflect the stars. She held a basket of fresh bread and said she had felt an inexplicable force guiding her there. "I don't know how, but I felt I had to come. This night holds something special," she explained, with a tone that suggested she knew more than she could say. The house, once quiet, began to fill with life. One by one, more visitors arrived, each with a unique story and a heart full of hope. There was a young man named Lucas, who carried a paper star as a gift, and a lady named Eleanor, who walked miles because she had dreamed of the tree the night before. The house transformed into a refuge where strangers became part of the story. The most curious thing was that each visitor seemed to bring something the family needed to hear. Benjamin talked about the importance of sharing. Grace emphasized the strength of faith, and Lucas, with a simple star, showed that even the smallest gestures can illuminate lives. Emily, fascinated, began to realize that the magic of the tree wasn't just about granting wishes, but about connecting people and their stories. But it didn't take long for a shadow of doubt to arise. "Why has everyone come here?" Mr. Parker asked, now more suspicious. Benjamin replied calmly, "The tree calls us, but it also tests us. Only those who understand the true spirit of Christmas can uncover its secret." The statement left everyone uneasy, especially since no one knew what it meant. As the visitors settled into the house, the tree outside seemed to glow even brighter. Emily couldn't take her eyes off the window, as if she knew something grand was about to happen. Deep down, everyone felt the same. After all, what could bring so many different people together under one roof on such a special night? The evening was filled with stories and laughter when a loud sound echoed through the forest. It sounded like an axe chopping wood. Everyone in the house froze for a moment until Benjamin quickly stood up. "Someone's at the tree," he said urgently. The Parker family and the visitors rushed out, flashlights trembling in their hands, while the snow creaked under their hurried footsteps. When they reached the clearing, they saw a burly man dressed in work clothes, holding an axe against the trunk of the magical tree. He looked determined, as if the tree were a valuable commodity rather than a symbol of something greater. "This wood is worth a fortune," he shouted, ignoring Emily's protests as she tried to protect the trunk with her small but resolute arms. Mr. Parker tried to reason with the stranger. "You don't understand. This tree is special. It has brought hope to our family." But the man laughed incredulously. "Special? That's just superstition. All I see here is an opportunity." The axe swung down again, But curiously, the trunk seemed impenetrable. It was as if the tree was resisting on its own. That's when Grace stepped in, approaching calmly. You're only seeing its material value, but this tree carries something that no amount of money can buy. Her words were firm yet compassionate. Still, the man didn't seem convinced. He was determined to take the tree, no matter the cost. The tension in the clearing grew as everyone searched for a way to prevent disaster. Emily, with tears in her eyes, grabbed the axe before the man could strike again. If you don't believe in miracles, at least believe in Christmas. It's the only time of year when anything seems possible. Her words echoed in the cold night, leaving everyone silent. Even the man hesitated, looking at the child as if something inside him was awakening. But before he could respond, the tree's glow exploded into a light so intense it covered the entire clearing. It was as if the forest itself was protecting its treasure. The man fell to his knees, not out of fear, but surprise. Tears began to stream down his face, and he murmured, "I just wanted to give something valuable to my family this Christmas." Benjamin, who had been watching everything with wise eyes, placed a hand on the man's shoulder. "Maybe the true gift lies in what you can teach them about what's important. This tree doesn't need to be cut down to help you." The man nodded, finally understanding. And so, the clearing returned to a place of peace. But everyone knew the greatest challenge was yet to come. On Christmas Eve, the clearing where the magical tree stood was surrounded by a different aura. It wasn't just a golden glow emanating from its branches, but an energy that seemed to connect everyone present. The Parkers, Benjamin, Grace, and all the visitors were there, in silence, feeling that something grand was about to happen. Emily held her father's hand tightly as the snow fell softly, like a blanket protecting that special moment. Suddenly, the tree began to emit a soft sound, almost like a melody. It was a harmonious chant that seemed to emerge from the very trunk and spread through the forest. The lights on its branches danced in sync with the sound, creating a spectacle that made everyone's eyes sparkle with emotion. Emily, with tears streaming down her face, whispered, "It's happening. The miracle is happening." And indeed, it was. The ground around the tree began to light up, revealing golden footprints that seemed to guide each person to a spot around the trunk. It was as if the tree was bringing them together, like an invisible embrace that united hearts and stories. Each visitor, even the man who had tried to cut it down, was led to reflect on their wishes, their actions, and the true meaning of that night. Then, something even more extraordinary happened. The tree's branches gently bent, as if offering something. Small packages began to appear among the leaves, each with the name of a person present. Emily was the first to open hers, and found a small glass ornament with the word "Hope" engraved on it. "It's perfect!" she exclaimed, hugging the gift as if it were a treasure. The others began to open their packages too, and each present seemed to touch the heart of its recipient. Grace found an old key, symbolizing a new beginning. Benjamin received an even brighter lantern, as if the tree was telling him he was the guide of that community. And the axe-wielding man, with eyes full of remorse, found a letter written in golden letters. "The greatest gift is the love you give." But the miracle didn't stop there. The tree's light soared into the sky, illuminating the entire village of Cedarville. People began to leave their homes, drawn by the glow and the music echoing through the night. In no time, the entire community was gathered around the tree, sharing stories, laughter, and the magic of Christmas. It was as if that clearing had transformed into the beating heart of the town. As everyone embraced, thanking for that moment, Benjamin looked at Emily and said, "You were right, little one. Christmas is truly a time of miracles." Emily smiled, her heart full of gratitude, knowing that this was just the beginning of something much bigger. But deep down, everyone felt that the tree still held one last secret, something only time could reveal. Years passed, but the story of that magical night in the clearing was never forgotten. The tree, which remained majestic and bright, became a meeting point for the Cedarville community. People came from far and wide to see it, hear its stories, and feel the Christmas spirit that seemed to emanate from its branches. Emily, now an adult, was the guardian of the tradition, always ready to tell the children what happened on that special night. Over time, the clearing was transformed into a community space. A small bench was placed near the tree, and plaques with messages of hope were scattered around. Every Christmas, entire families gathered to decorate the branches with ornaments that symbolized gratitude and wishes for the coming year. It was as if each person passing by left a piece of themselves, making the tree even more special. But the tree's legacy wasn't just physical. It was in the hearts of the people. Benjamin, who had dedicated his life to spreading the message of unity, passed by the clearing whenever he could. This tree reminds us that the true gift of Christmas isn't in what we receive, but in what we share, he would say, lighting his lantern, now a symbol of the light he brought to everyone around him. The story also inspired generations to believe in miracles. Children grew up hearing about how their parents and grandparents had witnessed something extraordinary. Some even created their own rituals, leaving small notes by the tree with messages of hope and love. It was as if the magic of that Christmas had never truly ended, but had instead multiplied over time. Emily, who now had her own children, taught them to care for the tree and preserve its history. "You don't have to believe in magic like I saw it," she said one night, "but never stop believing in what Christmas can do for people." Her words echoed, planting seeds in the hearts of the little ones, who promised to carry on the legacy. On the eve of each Christmas, the tree glowed even brighter, as if thanking everyone who visited it. It was a light that attracted people from all over, connecting stories, dreams, and even strangers. For many, that was the greatest gift of all, the chance to feel part of something bigger, a community where love was the universal language. And so, time went on, but the tree remained. Like a silent witness to the world's changes and challenges, it was a constant reminder that as long as there were those who believed in the power of love and unity, the spirit of Christmas would never die. And perhaps, someday in the future, the tree would decide to reveal another one of its secrets. And now that you've reached the end of the story, I need to ask, what does Christmas mean to you? Amid the hustle and bustle of everyday life, can you still see the miracles hidden in simple things? Maybe it's time to stop, breathe, and reflect. Who knows? You might also have an enchanted tree in your life, waiting to be discovered, perhaps in a loved one's smile or a small act of love. What this story teaches us is that the true gift isn't in the wrapping or the store windows. It's in what we give of ourselves, in how we choose to see the world, and in the connections we build. So, why not start now? What can you do today to spread a little Christmas magic? Who can you surprise with an act of kindness? I invite you to think about that and take action. But don't stop here. If you enjoyed this story, imagine how many more we can tell together. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and come discover how Christmas can transform lives. This is just the beginning, and I promise, each story will be more inspiring than the last. Let's keep believing and sharing together.